All right. We are rolling. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to another week of our Apocalypse World 2nd Edition, the Frozen Heights campaign. I am joined with all of the players this time. So, I think this will be a great opportunity to hop back into our story, see where we are, and get some development going. I think we're still learning a lot about our location, the characters, their interactions with each other. So I think tonight will be a fun session to hop in here. So let's take a moment to kind of see where we are again. We're starting a little bit later. It's still the same day. So far today, there's been a few different arrivals. There was Omi and Mimi, the medics, the traveling medics that brought a large supply of pills. A variety of other traders have come in to stop by. The market was pretty steady, pretty full. The weather seemed pretty clear. It wasn't too cold. Definitely some snow starting to build up on some of the southern pass. And the Emperor has sent a group of his warriors to go and meet with the Hardhold known as Portum to levy their warriors and bring them up here as he prepares for war. Lark had a few interactions throughout the day, meeting with the Emperor for a little bit and then having some time to spend on his own. He seemed to have a wish to find the Winter's Wraith, a need to get to know about this person a bit more, and requested a bit of help from the entity to do so. The entity seemed to just task him to say, look, let them come to you. You wait, and they will come. And we met Dusk's confidant, a young boy named, I believe his name is Shava, or Sava.
Shazla.
Shazla. Leaves food for her, and sometimes messages that could seem creepy, but probably aren't to her. Things like, I see you. Just showing their friendship of, I actually do see you. One of the few people that do that. So we're going to start today a little bit later in the day. It's probably still around 4 or 5, but it's already getting dark. The sun has already begun to fade, to the point that most of the sky is dark black stars. The torches have been lit all around the castle wall. The large campfires are highlighting kind of the corners, making sure that the full courtyard, while the markets and the stalls still run, are still well lit, warm, comforting. The temperature within these walls is certainly increased as there's enough of stone furnaces, campfires, torches, and fur and tents to just keep everything warm, comfortable, keep the snow kind of away. So it's a nice place to be. We're going to start with a couple things today, but let's start off with some highlighting stats. It's been a little while since we did that. So again, to highlight stats, what we want to do is take a look at our character sheets, see who has the highest hex on your page, and then have that person highlight a specific stat, a stat that they find interesting for you to use. Again, the reason that you always pick the highest person is with your hex, you kind of have more control over them if it's higher, where this gives them now a chance to have a little bit of control over you. So let's talk with Angus, our battle babe, who has the highest hex on your sheet.
Well, it's a tie, so I'm gonna go with Lark.
Let's see. I think I'm going to highlight your sharp.
All right. I think Angus has been a bit distant, and he also has something going on in his hand. So he's going to need to remain kind of cool today, keep his composure, make sure that he's getting his best self in these situations. So yeah, let's highlight cool. Emperor, who has the highest hex on your sheet?
That would be Dusk.
All right. Last time I think I picked cool.
Yes.
Okay, so now I think I'll pick your heart.
Emperor, I think you're starting to strategize. You have plans in the making, so I think you need to highlight that sharp. You got to make sure you're just getting everything
Squared away.
Yeah, better understanding of your situations. All right, Dusk, what about yourself? Who has the highest?
It's a tie again, so I can only pick one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, whoever you wish.
I'll roll to the side.
Okay.
Okay, that will be Lark.
Okay. I'm gonna say highlight Dusk's cool. I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of high pressure situations coming up in Dusk's future.
Do the others remain highlighted as well?
No, so you will clear your highlights and then replace them with the two that are selected here. So we'll have cool, and then yeah, I think that there's a strange attraction that's being pulled towards you that you might want to manipulate yourself. So I'm gonna highlight your hot. I think you're gonna be in some situations where you might be able to use some powers, not necessarily your looks per se, but who you are to manipulate your way through them.
I think I usually use weird for that.
Okay. Let's see. Let me pull up your sheet here. Let's check your moves. Weird. Let's see. Let's go aggro.
I think it's the direct brain whisper projection.
So going aggro would be your hard stat.
No, I don't think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can even look on your character sheet. So you have cool, which is do something under fire, hard, go aggro, seize by force, hot, seduce or manipulate, sharp, read a stitch or read a person, or weird, open your brain.
It might not be an ability I have yet. I think I read somewhere that instead of using hot, I can use weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of the moves that you can
Pick up.
get as the brainer. It works very similarly to the to one of the hocus moves.
Oh,
Okay.
the unnatural lust transfixion.
I think that must be it.
Okay. Yeah.
When you try to seduce someone, you can roll weird instead of hot.
So it's something that you can get, don't have yet. I'm fine. We can highlight weird. But yeah.
I'm fine either way.
No, that we'll do weird. That's fine. I'm okay making sure. I don't want to have something highlighted that you have no chance to roll. So that would not be very fun.
I think for Dusk,
I don't
like
mind.
Dusk just doesn't talk to people.
Mhm.
So manipulating people not with psychic powers is just
Yeah.
it's kind of against how the character's been played.
Yeah.
We'll do cool and weird.
That's true.
And then Lark,
Alright.
what about yourself?
Right now, I have, because my HX with Dusk reset last session, my highest is currently with Invictus.
Invictus. Haha.
Invictus.
All right.
I conjured another eye.
Yes. Highlight your weirds. I think that
Oh yeah.
that I have hard covered. Now we need the more supernatural side though.
I'm definitely good with having weird highlighted.
All right. I think you got to be sharp tonight. There's been ruffles within the cult. There's some funerals to attend. You got this weird Winter's Wraith thing that you're looking for. I think Lark needs to make sure he has eyes on the back of his head.
Those corpses are gonna start smelling by the time we get
Right.
to them.
Luckily, hopefully they're kept in someplace cold.
Outside.
Hmm.
Shouldn't be hard.
Hey. Did no one bring them to the incinerator?
I'm not sure that order's been passed yet. I think it's a funeral
don't-
will happen.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think
better
I've
hurry,
ever
because
even gotten
the
to it.
incinerator's going to turn into a blacksmith because I got a manufacturing.
It's true. It's true.
It's almost seeming like a secondary problem at this point.
Right. There's other things. They're not going anywhere.
Hopefully.
Since
We'll do
we're still in the
What at
same day,
least.
I'm not gonna have us do the lifestyle thing again. But for the starter moves that Emperor and Lark have, let's go ahead and run through those as we kind of get later in the day. Enough time has passed that moods may have changed, situations may have changed a bit. So let's start with you, Emperor. You have
Wealth
wealth,
as my move.
and I believe
I
that's
will roll
hard.
now. Yes. Oh, I'm just going to roll the move.
Perfect.
Partial success. I believe I have one wand now. Yes. On a 7-9, you have a surplus, but choose one wand. On the mid, okay. So I choose one wand. What wands do I have? Strangers, disease, obligation, hunger, or idle. I'm gonna say that the like a one for idle would it mean that like people don't have time or that they want more time?
So that means, let me go to your page here
I always forget where like
for
tags are.
yeah. I have them all listed here. Just need my notes to load. All right. For idle, when your people are in want, they don't have anything useful to do with their time. They occupy themselves with whatever seems diverting. They act on their various threat impulses, so on and so forth. So, yeah, basically means they're bored and looking for things to do.
Huh. Okay, I don't know if that would fit considering we're like about to launch a war. So maybe I guess either strangers or obligation would make sense. Or maybe obligation might be that like I don't know, they're like people are feeling a bit rowdy, kind of like in ancient Rome. They're feeling a bit rowdy, they're like they kind of want to go get something and we just been at peace for too long, almost.
Okay. So, sorry, which one?
Obligation.
Obligation. So that is when your responsibilities as someone outside of your group become urgent and demanding, where they're normally easily fulfilled.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, that works
Okay.
somewhat. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Just writing that down. All right. And for Lark, you have the, what's it
I have
called?
fortunes.
Fortunes. Yeah. And that's your weird?
No, fortunes is a separate thing.
Okay. Well,
It's
what
determined-
stat does it roll on?
I don't think it rolls on any stat. I think it is determined when you are selecting everything for your cult. Like
Okay.
some of the options have plus fortune and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, here it is. 1.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe just roll on your hard then. I think your hard's a 1.
There's a roll button on
Oh,
it.
perfect.
There we go.
Nice. So on a
So
10
on a-
plus, your followers have surplus. And let's see, for your group, let's see, when they go into surplus, what does that entail?
Um,
Let's see, I have it written down here.
keep losing track of where I have what on my sheet.
Mm-hmm. Surplus gives you additional barter, I believe.
Yes, surplus barter.
Yeah, awesome. All right.
So I just add 1 barter, or Or they have barter. Okay.
It basically means that they have barter, but you can take from it. So it gives you additional
Excellent.
barter on top of whatever you have. The same way that the Emperor, when his castle's in surplus, it means that they have extra money that he can choose to use if he needs to.
Okay.
5
Excellent.
barter, actually.
What's that?
5 barter specifically for the castle.
Yeah. So lots.
Go peons. Get me more wood.
Lots of things. Lots of things. All right. Very, very good. So, as we start later in the day, again, the sky is dark. It's still not late at night. You're not feeling the sense of tiredness, though some might if their days have kind of adjusted with a shorter sunlight. Dusk, as you kind of begin to awaken from your day's sleep, I want to ask you, many parts of this castle are still broken, not used, or just in malrepair. But there's one spot that only you have seen, and you swear you'll never return to it. Where was it, and why is that?
I'll probably say. Oh, but I was at the Northern Gate. I was going to say the Northern Gate. I was there the other day because of Princey. So.
Yeah, it would be someplace that no one else has gone to or been able to get to. You have to think, parts of the castle is probably just broken, fallen down, collapsed under an avalanche, something like that, or maybe it's just not being used at the moment because there's no need.
Could be secret passages.
Mm-hmm.
Or the
That's
ruined
another good
dungeons
one.
under the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going
Torture
to.
chamber.
Or a
Says-
collapsed secret tunnel under the dungeon.
Mhm.
Secret tunnel.
I'd say probably like in the dungeon there's probably like some partially collapsed tunnel leading somewhere,
Mhm.
but because I had to get out quickly, I could not traverse the whole tunnel,
Mm.
and the reason why I'm not returning there. There are like still these medieval tables and tools, and it just reminds her of something grim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Kind of reminds you of where you came from. Yeah.
But worse because it's a medieval dungeon and dark.
It's the nightmare version of whatever you came from.
So it's a
Yeah,
dark
kinda.
and dank secret tunnel.
Mm-hmm. So as you kind of awake and allow the peace of the darkness to surround you, a welcoming kind of comforting blanket, you feel something in your hand again, and you look down and you've been clutching on to this small black skull, so tight that you can see the indentions of like the eyes and the little carved teeth kind of in your hand as you've been squeezing it. There's still a bit of food that you haven't eaten yet, some potatoes. It's now cold, laying off to your side. And you can hear kind of the echoes of people out in the courtyard past the hallway that you're at. The night kind of sounds, people, maybe getting a bit too much of a bit more jovial, the sounds of things being cleaned up and put away, kind of echoes of just the people kind of wrapping up their day in the courtyard. So as you kind of come to in your now playtime, what is it that Dusk would want to start her day doing?
Well, there's the pressing matter of the skull. So she will try to go to Lark's church.
So as you kind of peek out, you look both ways, and the hallway that you enter is dark. You can see light coming from the doors that are on either side of the hallway, leading to both of the towers that are kind of on either side of these storage units. And you begin to head to the edge one. You open that door, and you can see into the courtyard, the backs of all of these homes. You can again see the flickering lights of the various campfires, and you know that to get to Lark's church, you'll have to kind of either travel on the northern side kind of wall to get there, or try to blend into the crowd. Are you trying to not go without being seen, or do you have a specific path that you've been following lately to get to Lark's church?
I mean, I think she would have to pass unseen for a bit before finding a path that she's more acquainted with to get to Lark's church.
So do you take your time to try to stick to the shadows between the houses, or do you just try to blend into any crowds of people and try to just follow along with them before you can skirt off to another, just being another person amongst a group?
No, definitely the shadows.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, at night, that's why you play at night, because it's not just that they're shadows, it's that the campfires are in strategic positions, but not for light, they're for warmth. So you recognize the areas between most of the businesses. There's not going to be a lot of heat here because the businesses closed down and they don't need to be wasting the firewood to keep them warm. So you're able to kind of duck behind the walls, and you go past the bakery just because you like the smell of the bread a little bit, and you know that the wall is still going to be just a bit warm right where the furnace is. So you're able to kind of feel that and follow your way across. You get to the edge, and you can see the courtyard. There's a pretty long platform that's wood or some kind of wood-like material that the individual stalls will kind of be moved around. And this is where, if people are bringing in, say, livestock, they'll kind of be shown in this area. There's maybe 20 or so people that are in the process of cleaning up their supplies. A few of them might still be talking, making last-minute deals, but the courtyard doesn't seem to be all that populated. Most of the sound seems to be coming from the general housing and the tavern, or wherever people go to eat. There's, congregations of families and all that kind of joining there. So you probably still have a pretty far distance to get to the church, but there's not a lot of people in the general area you're at now that you would have to go past. So do you head up to the wall and try to follow that across, or do you just feel confident that you can walk through these people and they're not really going to pay you any attention?
I'll try to walk along the wall.
Okay. So you begin to head up to the wall and make your way across when you see some of the snow begin to kind of fall off the side, and you look up real quick and back as you see one of the Emperor's guards begins to walk, looking out over the wall, not towards you, but begins to kind of walk towards the direction you are. It's probably another 6 or so feet above where you are to where the ledge is that he's walking, so he's fairly high up. But it does look like he's going to walk over you. Do you wait for him to pass, or do you try to just keep moving while he's walking?
I think I'll wait for him to pass by.
Okay. So you kind of just hang out for a moment and wait for the footsteps to go. Hear him stop, and you look, and you can actually see some of his shadow coming in from, again, the torches they have set up on the top of the walls all the way around. And it looks like he's right above you, and again, he just seems to be staring the other way. Kind of hold your breath for a moment and hesitate. And then he continues to walk past you towards the tower that you just came from. Down at the church, Lark, about this time, would you and your followers be at the church having a service? Would you all be together having dinner? Where would we find Lark and the cult at about 5 or so in the evening?
About 5 or so in the evening. Kind of earlier, we had kind of our meeting, and at this point, it's kind of like everyone's time. Like we're not really doing anything in particular now. We don't really. When we eat as a group, it's usually part of one of the sermons or something, as we saw before. And right now, it's just kind of everyone's time. A good chunk of the cult probably isn't even here. They're off doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although Lark, very specifically, wanted to find Rikara before she went to walk amongst the castle and everything.
Okay. Would you pull her to have a conversation in the church, or would you just go to the tents you have set up and talk there?
Probably in the church, because that's probably where less people are right now. A lot of the other people are probably in their tents, just sort of hanging out. This is probably the only time where the church is like usually empty, besides myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Lark has questions for her, so he would want it to be as private as possible. So,
So yeah, as you kind of bring her in, you can see the maybe 6 or so pews that are still standing have been cleaned. You know, any of the snow that's been blown in. You know, you keep a little like brazier or something in the front, a brazier to keep the warmth in here. And yeah, I see that smirk, head. Maybe hey, I'm not saying what he has in the back room or not. That's up to him. But you're able to walk in, kind of check, and again you hear the voices of the people in the courtyard, but this is a fairly secure building. She follows you. She hasn't spoken since you asked for her to come. She's just following at this point, kind of head still down. You see her kind of rubbing her hands together slowly, maybe trying to keep them warm. She just kind of walks behind you as you enter the church.
Lark kind of walks over to like the pew, kind of the raised area, because that's just where he's used to being when he's here. It's almost second nature. He just goes right up there, and he looks down at Rikara and kind of like trying to be stern but not loud. Doesn't want to be overheard.
Mm-hmm.
The man that you were with, the one who seems to be the right-hand man of the Emperor. You, of course, know the one, correct?
She nods.
What do you know of him?
To be honest, we didn't talk that much. I will tell you, it was mostly him and the other woman. I'm
not sure Lark's heard of that. Never mind. Besides the point.
It was cold.
Not for long, I imagine. If you needed to find this man again, could you?
Yeah, I don't think he goes too far from the tavern. That's where I found him last night. I would guess that's where he goes. He seems... I don't know what it was he was drinking, but it seems to be the place he gets it, and... Well... at some points he seemed to be more intrigued by his drink than by me, but that's okay. I was just there for... Well, I just needed someone. Without Julia, it's been hard, but no longer. I've heard what you've said. I understand. I need to right my wrongs, so it needs to happen.
And I think there's an opportunity for you to do just that.
Oh.
It seems the hardships aren't quite over. The Emperor spoke to me and kind of like looks around, like he's getting to the details he really doesn't want spreading through the group.
Mm-hmm.
He even does something he very rarely does. He kind of steps down from the pew and leans in a little closer to Rikara.
Mm-hmm.
And he just says, "The Emperor is talking of war with another group. And I'm afraid he wishes to conscript us." And just kind of lets that hang in the air, waits to see her reaction.
How long has Rikara been with you?
She's probably one of the newer members, but not the newest. Probably several months.
Okay. As you mentioned war, you see kind of a a flash, and it's a flash that you've seen from throughout your cult that kind of solidifies them as a group where they can get violent when they need to get violent, but it's always under your order. So she kind of looks up to you, and again, there's that battle stare where you see it go from like self-perseverance to obeying a commander, like intent to what would your order be. So she looks to you. There's not as many of us as certainly since Ashtown.
Yes,
If
my
sorry.
greatest concern with that would be that we be considered expendable in this campaign of his. The Emperor is a wise leader. He has built this hardhold and done a fine job of it. But you don't get to a place like that without some degree of ruthlessness, and I very much fear for our safety.
As you're talking, she reaches kind of into her down her shirt, and she pulls out kind of a necklace, and you've seen it before. It's a series of, they look to be maybe bird bones or some other kind of small creature bones that's shaped in almost looks like a pentagram. She kind of pulls it out. As you're talking, she just kind of begins to rub it a bit. What? I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't question you, but we all really like this place. It seems to have what we need. What is he offering? What do we get if we fight for him? If you fight for him?
Such terms we haven't really discussed at length, but I imagine we'd be allowed to remain here. And as I said before, leaving here is little more than a death sentence.
It is.
My concern is that our numbers will be greatly diminished by this coming conflict, especially if I'm correct on how the Emperor views us.
We certainly are not armed or trained for war. We protect ourselves. We, crucify those that are deemed worthy of it. But if you tell us to go and fight, we will all fight. We will fight. We will die. But we have the strength of your gift, the strength of your power. Makes us stronger than any of those that we would fight alongside.
And I am certainly not a stranger to the violence, but if we were to fight and die in this conflict, we'd be martyrs to nothing. There needs to be something to hold on to, but my concern right now is that I don't know anything about the Emperor's current inner circle or this group he wishes to combat. I'm thinking you can repent for your misdeeds by gathering information about the Emperor's bodyguard. I know very little of this man, and frankly, he doesn't seem the kind of person I'd be able to get through to in my traditional methods of doing such, but if he's a man of many vices, then that's how I will get to him. I want you, any way you can, figure out anything we might be able to use against this man, and by extension, the Emperor. But let no one know of what you are doing.
She smiles, like you can tell there's a sense of pride that she's being tasked to do something. While it is a repenting, or to repent for her misdeeds, she tucks the necklace back in, kind of sits up straight. I will do this for you, Lark. I will get as much information as I can, and I will not let anyone know. You have always offered us powerful words and guided our path. Perhaps if you have access to the Emperor, you can find who we would be fighting, why we would be fighting, and, well, see if it would be worthy of our blood.
Yes, I rather not dirty our hands in murdering those that do not deserve it, if that is the case. But until I do more, we can do little but learn about our current situation.
Of course. If I find anything, should I just pull you aside, or how should I let you know the information I gather?
Perhaps it... Any information you gather, I will question you after each sermon. We will go somewhere private where we will not be overheard, and then you may divulge any information you have uncovered to me then.
All right.
But until then, this conversation never happened.
Of course. Thank you, Lark. I will do right by you.
I have faith in you.
And I you. She nods and kind of closes her eyes. Keeps her head down until you give permission to leave.
And Lark kind of he kind of looks outside and everything. And does he see anyone outside their tent? Is there any of the cult members like walking around nearby?
At the moment, I think the only person you see is Larissa, but you see her kind of off towards the edge of the church. We're just kind of guarding the entrance of the storage closet, just kind of leaning back there. It looks like she kind of has her hand on the lock that she just bought. Her other missing her hand is just kind of up, and she's just looking out, so she doesn't necessarily notice you. But yeah, that's the only person you seem to see around the tents and around the church.
Right, and Lark kind of looks back to Rikara. Many have been demanding your blood for your transgressions, but I don't believe what you did was quite worth that. But I think it best to make a brief display to put those that wish harm to you at ease.
She doesn't say anything, just kind of nods. Understand.
Yeah, and without another word, Lark just backhand her.
Okay. Yeah, just
But not like he's not trying to hurt her, but he wants to leave a mark so it looks like she got kind of like basic punishment, so everyone will be like, "Oh, she finally got what was coming."
yeah, you hit her, and she winces, kind of looks to you, and you see a small trickle of blood kind of down her lip, kind of a cut lip, and her cheek's quite red. She kind of places her hands below and again kind of bows to say thank you. You look over, and with that slap sound, Larissa's kind of looked over, sees you, just gives you like a I understand what that was, just kind of a nod, and then goes back to just kind of leaning against the wall. But yeah, you can tell that she'll have kind of probably not necessarily a bruise, but cut lip and enough redness. Somebody would be able to tell that she just got.
It will be noticeable.
Yeah.
And Lark's kind of because that probably garnered some attention. He's like aggressively like moving his finger at her as he talks, but like to make it look like it's like discipline and everything. But he's like, I apologize for that, but with everything going on, it's best to make sure angry eyes stay away from you.
Yeah, as you like backhand her, you see one of the flaps of the tent open. And there's like a really tired. It's probably one of your followers we haven't named yet, but one of your older, like an older woman. She kind of looks out and oh, okay,
Member number 4.
just closes it. Yeah, it seems that your intention's clear, and she'll be able. If anyone sees her, they'll kind of recognize that's what happened. Um, Dusk, as you kind of make your way further across the wall, you probably hear the sound of a slap back behind the church, but you don't see anyone in the church itself at the moment.
Okay. So Lark was in his private quarters, so to say.
Yeah, he was towards the back by the tents, kind of off on
Oh,
his
okay.
own, so on the other side of the church.
Okay. Hmm. I guess I'll. There's absolutely no one inside the church, right?
Not
That I can see.
no one that you can see. They seem to move outside.
Okay. So I'll approach carefully the church.
Okay. Are you trying to get inside without being seen?
Yeah, I was going to ask if the doors are open or locked.
When you left out to go outside and kind of have your scene larked, would you close the door? Is there even a door to the church? It is kind of an abandoned building.
I imagine it's one of those situations where there's like one door that's really weathered and like damaged, but still on the hinges, and there's one. It's like only one hinge is actually still on, so when it closes, it's not quite flush with the door frame.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's not really a way to lock it either. So,
It seems like the door is closed, but not like you press on it and you hear it creak a little bit. It doesn't seem to be locked, and you can still see like through cracks in the walls. There's like some missing cinder blocks or whatever. It's pretty easy to see inside, and you again don't see anyone in there. You do hear, maybe some conversations going off to the side. Yeah, if you want to get in there for now, I would say you probably have a moment while Lark is dealing with Rikara for the first couple seconds that you can try to get in there.
I was going to ask, where does Lark usually pray? Is it in the church or in his quarters or tent? That Dusk knows of.
he kind of prays like everywhere, although the church and his tent are obviously very common locations. And when he's by himself and he's praying, he'll have that black skull out, which is most likely what Dusk remembers that from.
Okay. Okay, so I get in the church.
Okay. So as you kind of swing through the door and begin to make your way in the church, we'll actually catch up with the Emperor real quick. So it's about dinner time, Emperor. Who joins you at your dinner table, and has not been there recently?
Let's see. So, speaking of Lark and the Inner Council, my group of most trusted members inside the castle join me for dinner. Generally. So that includes the legate. That includes Medicaid. That includes a person we actually haven't met yet, who effectively, so in the city, most of our economy is based on caravans. That requires a lot of logistics, and effectively, when at that time, Mark was leading the group of survivors. Turns out that he met a woman who was exceptionally good at managing people and resources. And he kind of put her in charge of just like figuring out the mess that is the caravans. And she's also part of this inner council. And a very recent addition has been Angus, and I think that he hasn't been showing up recently.
Okay. What's the name of the woman that leads your strategy of caravans? Your transportation director?
Her name, Fatima.
Fatima? So Angus, do you show up to dinner tonight? Or are you elsewhere?
I do. No, I'm excited by the prospect of our possible future actions, and as a result, I'm probably sticking by the Emperor's side a little bit, even more than usual.
So, Emperor, what is a normal dinner for you and your loyal council? What are we talking about?
So generally an actual dinner where the entire council is together is a pretty nice meal in terms of like post-apocalyptic standards. You would probably find like some relatively like good canned food from way back when. Maybe actually like a bit of meat, mostly bread and whatever like vegetables or tubers you'd be able to grow in the snow. So maybe like some potatoes, things like that. But the thing that is actually like somewhat different is that there is actually some amount of meat here, and fresh meat, like beyond just the canned meat. There's also fresh pork specifically.
And Angus, old wine, it's available, but it's not always the best. The tavern has something else that they offer to sate the needs of you and many of the Legion itself that's a bit stronger. What weird drink is available at the tavern?
Oh, they
wine?
make the best fermented goat's milk that you've ever had.
I love it.
Oh boy, the smells coming from that tavern. Oh,
Shame and
boy.
goat's milk.
Yeah. There
That's
you
the
go.
one part of town that Invictus does not go to.
Does the tavern actually have like goats in a back pen? Is that kind of their thing?
Yeah, I would imagine that they probably do to make their own dairy products. I mean, because their goats are hardy, they're easy to take care of, they're better in the colder climate than a lot of the cows probably died out by this point. But goats can survive in just about anything.
So do you bring some goat's milk with you to dinner?
No, I'm being pretty respectful when I actually come to these dinners, as crass as I can be normally. I realize he is trying to put on a front, and especially if we're thinking of like actually going to war with people or something like that, I'm probably wanting to make sure that I toe the line and everything's ship shape and until shit hits the fan.
I got to keep up the appearances.
Yeah, as you all kind of sit and are served food, what is the conversation tonight? As again, you've sent out your group to go and levy the Portum military. You know it'll be a couple days before they're expected to return. So you have your table of advisors, of confidants, or just your general trusted individuals. What's the conversation?
Probably about Princey and like what happened there. Because I think that would be a big topic conversation between like everyone having their own opinions about what to do, especially now that someone showed up dead.
Oh, and much to her chagrin, no matter where we're assigned to sit, I'm going to sit next to that Fatima lady, the lovely lady.
She's already married.
So?
Good point.
Let's be honest. There's a good chance her husband will be dead tomorrow.
So as you all sit there, Fatima kind of speaks up. You have you mentioned the agreement between you and this Princey that we are to begin sending food to him. Do you need that to take place so we can keep up appearances beforehand, or not? Should I go ahead and speak with a few of my boys, have them prepare to make journey his way in the morn?
For the first week, have the food shipments actually go there, normal food shipments. After that, we'll see what we can do once we've earned their trust. And if the food shipments go there and don't come back, well, that gives us extra confirmation about what happened.
It has been a while since anyone traveled the Northern Pass. Do we have a confirmation of the location? Do you recall him providing that to you in your previous meetings?
Invictus kind of thinks back for a second, and he realizes that he never gave him a precise location where to send the food to. But through Invictus's knowledge of the mountain where it could be, he knows that they're more or less cave dwellers, and he knows that there's probably is some kind of road that goes there.
You'll also recall that he mentioned having his boys, his scouts out as well. So chances are they'll be led there.
Yeah. I want to try to figure out to see if Invictus, with his knowledge of the area, can figure out exactly where it is when he's thinking about it.
Okay.
That'd be.
What would that be? Let's think here.
Maybe Rita Sitch.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you do have where's my enemy's true position.
That
I don't know if
true.
this is I guess it is kind of a charged situation because you're planning. So yeah, let's read the situation as you, based off of your information. The legate might actually have some information too, based off of any of the scouts he sent out.
Okay, cool. This is a button, I believe. And no one's helping, no one's interfering. How will they do? Partial success. One question. What is my enemy's true location?
Awesome. So
That's
let's
easy.
go ahead, switch us over to the region. So yeah, you actually recall, based off of some of the information that he's provided, that it's not just a cave. It's actually one of the largest ice caves in the region. He may have mentioned it. He calls it Eisenwelts. That's probably not the actual name, but that's just based off of the information he would give. So we'll go ahead and just add a location here. Let me just copy this. So it's kind of back a ways and within a valley. So you do have a path that will lead almost straight towards the dark zone. That's the best as far as this northerly path. But your understanding is that there is a trail that leads up the mountain, and there actually used to be a cable car that led to the entrance as well. So there should be a path up the hill. It's not large enough for a large vehicle to get there, but carts and smaller vehicles definitely can. And if that cable car is still active, that might be how they transport larger things up there too.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so the Emperor kind of thinks back and he says, now, he never told me his summon's true location. However, he did mention scouts in the area, but I do think I know where it is. And kind of I grab a map that's been hastily drawn maybe a year or two ago, of the overall landscape of the mountain, more or less. And I basically kind of find out where would be more or less. And I point to it. I'm here. This is where it would be. It's in this very large cave system, one of some of the largest ice caves in these mountains. That's where he is.
She looks at the map and, being able to read terrain fairly quickly, she'll kind of see a few points. All right, we'll probably have to send them with some shovels. To be honest, it may not be bad to get a few of the oxes, with your permission, of course, trudge through. I'm not sure how the snow will be up there, but certainly if we have to be going through a few of these the peaks there, it might be best. It might be a bit slower, but if anything, we can make sure that they're taking the details of the terrain and everything as they go, so that when they return we'll have a better idea. But this should work just fine to at least get them sent on the right way.
Well, how long is this trip that you've got to take to this place? Can you send a scout and have him come back so we can find out?
I have scouts available with your permission, Emperor. We could certainly see what it might look like. Give us an idea before we send the first shipment away.
Send them with the express orders that if they're to encounter any sort of resistance, if they're to be slowed down at all, that they come back here directly.
Very well. I will, once dinner is done, I will speak with one of the boys and get them sent out in the morning. Absolutely. I have a spare horse they can actually take too, so that should be fine. We're not using one of them at the moment. It was supposed to go to the south, but with the other gentlemen we sent down, I think they were able to carry those supplies for us, so it should be fine.
Perfect. Midike, Leggett, Angus, your opinions on the current situation?
I think it'd be fine to lull them into the complacency as you're doing. If we need to kick their ass afterwards, they're going to be that much less likely to have a defense up.
I completely agree with that. After all, right now we are going in completely blind if we attack now. However, waiting will only increase the information that we get of them, and will only increase our knowledge of the terrain to be able to mold it to.
And I'm not normally one for backstabbing a friend, but they're freaky as fuck, and I have no problem with that. My hand, no one's taken a look at it.
The Medicaid has a piece of food in his mouth. And he wipes it away. Oh, what's wrong with your hand? Kind of adjusts his glasses a little bit. You've been spending too much time waxing your staff there, son.
Oh, I can switch shift for that one. For my hand, he put some sort of things on the table, and I didn't want to get too close to the Emperor, so I put my hand on the way, and there's some sort of worms or grubs or something that sort of crawled in my hand.
Oh, you. He goes to grab your hand, gets up and walks and looks at it. Yes, I had that piece of meat in my shop. Pretty large, strange maggots in them. You say you have them in your hand as well?
A couple of them crawled in there, as far as I know.
So as he goes to look, you can definitely start to feel something in your hand. Angus, can you please roll plus hard as you begin to feel the squirm of mother's maggots?
Going aggro on those maggots.
All right.
Actually, wouldn't that be cool? Because he's doing that under fire.
No, so this is a custom move.
When
you feel the squirm of mother's maggots, roll plus hard. On a 10 plus, mother does not feel the need to cleanse you. The maggots will die off in time. On a 7 to 9, mother wishes to test you. Take 2 harm armor piercing as the maggots begin to burrow their way back out of your skin. On a miss, mother takes hold within you. You take -1 hard and +2 weird.
Ooh.
So as he grabs your hand to begin to look at him, you start to feel this immense pain, and you start to see blood trickle from your palm as one of these things begins to burrow out of it. As you do take that harm, let's go ahead and roll the harm move.
And he goes unconscious.
So do I do it as 0 right now because I haven't gotten the harm yet?
So you did take the harm, so you have 2 harm armor piercing that you took.
So you're at 6, I believe.
And what you want to do on a roll harm is actually, on you want to do, let's see, harm and healing. Yeah, on a 10 plus, ooh boy, that's bad. You want to miss on harm rolls. So I get to choose one. Either you're out of action, or it's worse than it seemed. Yeah, as you begin to see these worms begin to burrow out of the skin. Like, your immediate reaction is to just run to the nearest source of flame and hold your hand over it. So you begin to panic. Emperor, you see Angus, like, his hand begins to drip blood on the table a little bit, and then you see his eyes go, like, just wide as the Medicae leans in kind of for a closer look, a bit confused with what's going on. Angus just sprints over to the torch and, like, puts his hand over it. You start to see, like, steam coming from his hand.
Emperor Invictus just like looking at it with like his eyes like wide and like almost shocked. Of all the things he would have expected, this was not one of them. And at this point, he's just almost too shocked to act. He's just like looking, just like with an eye or with like an air of like, fuck.
Angus, you feel a pop occur as one of the maggots just like a piece of popcorn explodes in your hand, and it makes you like react. And you look down, and your palm is just it's burned bad, and there's 2 holes that have now formed, maybe about the size of a dime, that have burrowed out of the side of your hand, as there's this weird dark black and blue kind of goo that is sizzling from the heat, from where these maggots have removed themselves from your hand.
By this point, I'm probably running out of curse words and inventing new one.
The legate kind of like stands as you get panicked and just watches. You see him kind of reach for his blade and move his way towards the Emperor just to keep an eye on you. The Medicae eventually kind of comes over and grabs your hand. Oof, yeah, that has to hurt a bit, doesn't it? All right.
You don't fucking say.
Come over here so I can take a better look at you. He just kind of grins, wipes his mouth a bit, and goes, grabs his bag, and begins to kind of wrap your hand, trying to stop the bleeding.
While I'm sitting there, I like motion towards the table, like for anyone who like wine.
Fatima like is completely just staring at this and just slides her glass over to you, kind of just still staring forward. It's old, but you like just down the entire thing. It tastes very bland, but you can feel some burning in your esophagus, the right kind of alcohol going down. You got a couple holes in your hand there. I think the Medicae is probably going to be able to repair it for now, because he's right there. So you end up recovering enough that you're not going to have long-term effects, but you'll have the memories, which is important.
Invictus, with his appetite firmly destroyed, drops his fork and knife, pushes the plate forward.
Yeah, Fatima's just still like just sitting there, very confused where that came from.
As I'm sitting there like shaking from the pain with that like uncontrollable shaking, and you see for the first time Angus kind of actually looks a little bit freaked out. But then when he sees you push your plate away, he just kind of looks over and goes, "Put it on mine."
Victus is just kind of like thinking through himself, you know what? Sure. Just, like, with his fork, grabs whatever's in his plate, just kind of like slides it onto his. Probably needs the extra food considering his arms.
Gotta get that protein back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as we transition away from dinner, we come back to Dusk. You probably have a couple, maybe a minute or so before Lark returns. Is there anything you were wanting to do within the church?
So there's like an altar, right?
Yeah, Lark usually gives his speeches from like a decrepit old podium that would probably fall over if he leaned on it too much.
Okay. So she walks to the podium and places the black skull facing the door, and then hides in a corner, like near the door, so that when Lark enters, he doesn't see her right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you eventually kind of release Rikara to go on about her business. What would you be going back to the church to pray or anything?
I would imagine he'd be going back to pray a little bit because he did kind of just send one of his people off to do something that's, you know, probably not dangerous as far as apocalypse world standards, but still not necessarily safe.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably walks over to the podium and everything, and he like reaches into his robes like for the skull, but then remembers it's not there,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't quite know what to do with his hands. He just does like clasps them together in like the very like stereotypical like prayer situation, just kind of bows his head and everything, and
So as you actually kind of get to that point, you do reach for your skull. You kind of get into the motive of just getting down to kneel, and there's like just a breeze at the back of your neck that makes you look up, and you see the skull now on the podium looking almost down upon you.
my word. He like reaches for it, but then like it clicks in his head that like it had to have been brought here, and he starts looking around.
So the door is open, right?
Yeah, he came in, and I don't think Lark even bothered shutting it.
Okay. Once he's not facing the door, you hear it creaking close. And in the corner is this ghastly looking girl in a white sleep gown and long dark hair, staring at you.
Lark kind of like stares back for a minute, like not really taking his eyes off Dusk, like reaches back to grab the skull, and just kind of the Winter's Wraith, I presume.
She doesn't say anything, she just stares.
And Lark starts looking out the windows to see if anyone's like around.
There's still you can see Larissa kind of off to the side. They're again, everybody seems to be out having meals or doing their own thing, and the people in the courtyard seem to be in the process of just packing up and moving. So for the moment, everyone seems to be kind of within taverns, buildings, all of that. There's not a lot of traffic around here. You'll remember that there was one of your followers, an older woman, that's still kind of sleeping outside in the tent too, but no one directly like close enough to hear you unless you start yelling.
All right, so Lark kind of like confirming that he's not going to immediately get found, like walks, like he takes some very slow, cautious steps towards Dusk, and he's just like, "You're the one I saw in the castle. Windjammer was chasing you. The footprints in the snow. You brought the skull back. That was you."
Just staring.
And Laura kind of like looks at the skull, looks back to her, looks outside again because he's super paranoid someone's going to come walking in. He looks back to Dusk. What exactly are you, really? You're not a wraith, as they thought. You're here. You're not a ghost like the people around this castle have been saying. So what are you?
Yeah. You just hear her light breathing.
So you're quiet. Bit older than they were describing. Let's see. Lark kind of he like reaches out as if he's about to touch Dusk.
She recoils a bit.
And
She
he
doesn't want you to
stops.
touch her.
He stops. What really happened? What really happened to Windjammer? Do you know? Everyone was saying he was this outsider that killed him, but he was chasing you last I saw him.
She continues silent, but she breaks her stare for a moment when you mention that. But for just a moment.
Okay, I'm gonna read a person.
Awesome. Roll that sharp.
All right.
Hmm.
Darn.
Seems
Funny,
legit.
we haven't had a lot of fails lately.
Ouch. That is Apocalypse World. Well, something bad's gonna happen. Oh boy. I love
Dusk. You see his eyes begin to look inquisitive, confused, but you see a flash of the doctors that looked at you the same way, wanting to know, what are you? What is this thing? How can I get to know what you are better? You no longer see Lark there. You see the same person that looked over you on that table. What would you like to do?
Would I have to use a move to click, how do you say it?
The brainwave projector? Let's see.
Telekinetically push him.
Let me check your sheet real quick. The painwave projector. No, that it would be a move, so that would be going aggro. Well, to be honest, no, this would be suckering someone. Yeah, because he's not expecting it. So
I'm the sucker.
you're definitely the sucker. You can just think about it. It depends. Is it something that you have to activate, or is it just something that happens when you think the right thought?
I would possibly think the latter.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think you could miss, as it does have area, loud, reload, high tech.
Oh no, there are people nearby.
Yeah. So describe the sound that goes off. Is it like a flashbang? Like what is the what is the sound that occurs?
It's kind of like a sonic boom. So it basically push everything inside the church and possibly break some things.
So
He had one pane of glass left. One pane.
Lark,
Do you know how hard it is to find that painted glass these days?
Hey, I was gonna bring some renovators to the church tomorrow anyways.
you feel this like blast that happens, and immediately your ears just start like that super high pitched sound that makes your eyes like start to twitch. You do take 1 harm HP, so go ahead and roll that harm move. Larissa or Dusk, as you set this thing off, the one glass plane breaks, and you can see the Larissa that's out there. Immediately she starts grasping your ears and like bending over, like ma, trying to get her hearing back. So on an 8 for that, you lose your footing, you lose your grip on whatever you're holding, you lose track of someone or something you're attending to. Yeah, as you go to like reach up to your ears to like deafen this pain, you end up throwing the skull up in the air, And Dusk, you see the same skull that you left go up and start like kind of floating. It looks like it's about to go back behind you and hit against the stone floor.
I don't do anything.
So what is the skull made out of, Lark?
It's kind of like a hard, like obsidian type material. Like something that isn't gonna break easy, but would probably like split if it struck hard enough.
Mm-hmm. You see it as your eyes kind of readjust, stop twitching. It goes up and past her, and you see it heading straight into the hard stone surface back behind. As your ears begin to readjust, what would you like to do? She's still standing there, staring back at you, and your holy skull is about to crash on the floor.
She's angry now, and she's about to take off in a minute.
She's probably looking at you just like his profile picture is looking.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Dusk is pissed.
I think Lark kind of like takes a step towards the skull, but I don't think that there's any way he can possibly catch it, and I think he realizes that.
I mean, you can definitely try acting under fire to get there in time. Or perhaps you're trusting that the skull will not crack, snap, or break, and that might be the fire itself.
Oh, so many things right now.
Dusk is going to be a real problem child.
You don't say. So Lark kind of like, I think as much as it pains him, he ignores the skull for a second and turns back to Dusk and just be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, but you've alerted them. You have to get out now.
You don't need to
Please.
say it twice, and she's out of there.
And he tries to like kind of like, I'm a friend, please come back. But yeah,
She'll consider that.
yeah. And Lark sees like Dusk move out and just damn it, and he like turns around, like just like kicks one of the pews as hard as he can.
So as the door swings open, the skull kind of hits and then bounces out and rolls in the snow a little bit. Like kick it and turn around, and that's when you start to see Ram just running right to you. He like stops. You have to come. You have to come now. It's fucking Abraham again. And begins running across the other side of the courtyard to where there's kind of like a stable that's been retrofitted to fit vehicles. And begins running across. Do you follow him?
Yeah, Lark kind of like, he's probably not running as briskly as he could, but he tries to like quickly scoop up the skull from the snow as he moves to follow Ram.
So they begin to run across the courtyard. That's when you're all sitting in the dining hall. You're trying to eat as you can. Fatima's slowly getting back to her meal when there's a pounding on the door. Attack! Attack!
Oh shit.
The legate kind of stands and begins to make his way to the door. He opens it, and Drag like comes in, dragging his 1 foot. They're fucking at it. Fucking Ashtown. These weird fucks that are in the tents. They're gonna fucking kill each other right now. Do you want us to go and stop it, or should we just let them deal with it?
Let's let them just handle themselves out. I'm sure it's going to work in our favor as long as they don't touch any of ours.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye. I'll bring a couple of other boys, and we'll make sure nothing gets damaged.
Make sure to contain it. And if the church gets damaged, it's no issue. Anything other than church, though. I was going to renovate it anyways. They're just making my job easier if they destroy it.
As you mentioned the church, he's like, yeah, there was some weird fucking noise from that church just a couple minutes ago, but whatever. We'll go. We'll get this quarantined. Like bows to you. Thank you, Emperor. We'll let you know. And begins to race back outside.
Whatever. All noises that come from a church are weird.
So
The Emperor's actually gonna like walk out to kind of like to a perch where he can just see this happen. He wants to observe how the cold is acting at its worst moments.
So you walk up, and again, it's kind of like a stable where vehicles can pull into. So what you can see right now is there's a small crowd that's begun to form around one of the doors. And you see two of your soldiers kind of moving in with their weapons to kind of just keep everybody back. But you can hear like some yelling coming from the shed, and it's hard for you to see inside what's actually happening. But Lark, as you get up there, you can see that there's like a pickup truck that's been backed in, and there seems to be a pile of wood in the back. And there's these two individuals, an older woman and kind of a younger boy, that are wearing these orange jackets and like overalls. And both of them are carrying an axe. And the woman has Rourke up against the wall with the axe to his neck, while the younger boy is basically keeping his foot down on Abraham, who's on the floor. And Abraham's just screaming, I know it was you fuckers I know it was you, Rourke, I know it's them. And they're yelling, you're the fucker that came into our town, you killed Billy, you fuck, we're gonna take your fucking head, we'll take your fucking head, you keep it up. And they're just yelling back and forth.
People all day today. Lark kind of like hurries up and like just I guess I should read the situation. This seems pretty fucking charged.
It's pretty charged, just a wee bit.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll some sharp.
Just 5 minutes, please. Just
Okay.
5 minutes.
So what's your question here?
All right. Oh boy. Some of these are a little bit obvious at this point. Oh God. What? Okay, which enemy is the biggest threat?
At the moment, it's going to be the woman with the knife to Rourke, or with the axe to Rourke. It looks like she knows how to use it. She's the one not talking at the moment. You get the idea that she's probably the one in charge of the situation, and that's your right-hand man she has up against the wall.
Yeah, Lark, like, just I demand to know what is going on here.
Abraham like panics. They're the ones that have been fucking stealing, Lark.
Quiet. I wasn't talking to you. He looks back at the woman with the axe. What are you doing?
She turns and looks back. These yours then? That one there comes in yelling about how my boy be stealing things from you. Threatened to stab him like he did the other orange vest. Big mouth on him. This boy looks at Rourke. He's a good guard dog, but well, we deal with shit like this all the time in Ashtown, and I'm not gonna let no one be blaming my boy for nothing we ain't doing. So that's what the fuck's going on around here. Who the fuck are you?
My name is Lark. And you?
You can call me East.
I very much suggest that you let both of them go and forget this ever happened.
You really think that, huh? I don't see any of the Emperor's boys in here, which means the Emperor's gonna let us play. This isn't the first time there's been a scrap in his yard. So you got some pretty big words on you. I think we deserve a bit of a repercussion, don't you think? Coming here causing us to do all this hassle. So what are these two boys worth to you?
Lark kind of looks back and forth between the woman and Rourke. And he looks towards the tower, like seeing if anyone is watching what's going on right now.
You turn around and there's a crowd of probably about 15 civilians, and 4 of the guards are just standing there. They have their weapons, but they're just kind of keeping the crowd back, and they're just watching in case anything happens to flow out into the streets.
Maybe you should look hard enough, you see like Invictus watching something.
You see him kind of up on a ledge looking down. Angus is probably standing next to him with a leg or something.
Definitely giving like squinty eyes towards Invictus right now, because it's like, this is happening on your watch.
Always.
And
This is a
and you said that there were a few guards kind of keeping the
There's
crowd.
like four guards that are they're watching, just keeping the crowd back.
He looks to the nearest guard, and he's just like, so this is how it is in this castle. Is it strangers come in and suddenly they're judge, jury, and executioner of all that happens? I thought that was your job, pointing to the guard.
Drag just kind of sits there and smiles. We have our orders. You seem to like to talk a lot there, preacher man. You guys made a mess, you fucking clean it up. We've been busy all day. Like, you see the smirk of, we want to see violence. Like, we cannot wait.
They are bloodthirsty.
Oh boy.
Dusk, as you probably see this crowd beginning to form as well. Like, you probably, as you run away and try to kind of hide behind a wall, you see Lark just book it across the courtyard towards towards the garage. You just gonna hang out and watch, or you want to get closer and see what's going on?
I'll try to watch from somewhere that I won't be easily seen.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few places of shadow now. It's I would say, I don't know, we got this wall here, so let's just draw in. Or probably down here on the far side, like right here. There's like a garage for some of the smaller vehicles. So you could probably find a way to maybe get up on side one of the towers, or just finding one of the other buildings there. So it's not difficult for you to just find a shadow and watch from afar. Again, you see the crowd, you see the guards, you see Lark trying to yell at one of the guards, but really to the sarcastic response that you're used to watching. All these guards are a bunch of dicks that you'd rather make walk off walls than have to interact with. So
They are dicks.
The feeling is mutual at the moment.
Yeah. You might even start to hear some murmurs in the crowd of like, fight, fight, fight. But inside, Rourke gives you this look, and he looks over to their vehicle, like tries to direct your attention over to their vehicle. And then he just kind of nods.
Is he telling me to do something, or is he...
He's trying, it seems like he might be trying to say, like, look.
All right, I look at the vehicle.
Do you like walk in to kind of look over the side and see better into the back area?
Yeah, Lark will get as close as he can without like provoking a response.
Yeah, like the East looks back to you, and you see her kind of press the axe a little bit deeper and kind of watch. You don't need to be approaching me, boy. But you're able to make your way kind of past the cabin. You look back there, and amongst the wood, kind of underneath a few piles, you do see a sack of potatoes that looks very similar to the sacks that you had in your storage.
Lark kind of taking note of that, like looks back to East and just says, any offense these two have made towards you is a failure on my part. So please, taking it out on them is a waste of effort, really. He steps one step closer, holds his arms out. Let them go and take it out on me instead. And I'm gonna. Is this a manipulate?
I
really...
do believe this is definitely a manipulate. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is. I did not expect to be this stressed about a roll today.
Choo.
All right. So on an 8, they'll go along with it, but they need some concrete assurance, corroboration, or evidence first.
Oh, they want from little old you.
Lark is trying to kind of use the crowd's desire for violence, like to kind of drive the situation, because it's clear that everyone wants blood spilled right now, but he rather it not be like, he doesn't have a lot of cult members. He can heal from wounds, but you can't grow cult members.
I mean, you can grow cult members if you help me.
So
I don't know if I want to yet.
That's a dilemma, isn't it?
she'll look back at you. All right, Lark. Tell your boys to leave the knives, and we'll take you instead. And
So she's asking, like, just drop their weapons or give their weapons.
to leave their weapons behind, and they can go.
Okay, so Lara kind of like turns and nods, like saying, like, do it.
You see Rourke had like a knife kind of up his sleeve that he'd been holding there, and it slides out and drops. Abraham goes, he has a little like flip pocket knife, nothing big, and just kind of pushes it and like shoves
He lost his big knife privileges.
like shoves the guy's foot off of him. You fucker. We don't have to go, Lark. And Rourke just kind of grabs him by the back of his head and just starts walking him out. He looks at you like the I'm still here, and they make their way to the door. East comes over, and she's probably about a foot shorter than you, but now that she's not pressing someone up to the wall, like you can see the height difference. Like she's able to get kind of bulky, and she rests the axe on her shoulder. So, like I said, we got some things coming to us. You seem like a nice fella, and she kind of pats you on the cheek. Well, me and my boy, we got a long drive ahead of us tomorrow, and it would be so nice to return home with a little bit extra, you know. So, Lark, what is it you're gonna do for me tonight?
Lark kind of like looking at her. Are we talking about the trade on the same terms, or
The boy
like he's getting like a little he's getting like a little awkward, like, are you hitting on me?
Mom, I think this boy is pretty dumb. Maybe you need to put the stick to him. Get him out of his confusion. She kind of goes, Psst, shut up, last. Let me deal with this nice boy here. This nice young gentleman. She kind of starts walking to you to start pushing you kind of back against the truck. Kind of getting uncomfortably close. And you feel her hand begin to start wandering across you, searching for pockets. What does she begin to find?
Lark does not keep very much on him, especially because he's kind of since the cult's been kind of set up for a while, he doesn't really have a need to carry much on him. He doesn't personally typically carry a weapon. I think the only thing she might find is the skull.
She kind of reached down to your thigh pocket, and you see her eyes kind of jolt with a, what do you got in your pocket, boy? Kind of reaches in, grabs it, pulls it out. That's pretty, isn't it?
Okay, is there like a glass window on this vehicle I'm being pushed against?
Yeah.
I want to take her head and slam her through the glass.
All right. That absolutely sounds like a go aggro. you as you're kind of close, you see that she doesn't have a lot of hair. So, yeah, I think let's do this. Go aggro.
I thought the last roll was stressful.
This is exactly.
Oh, yeah. So,
Best possible result.
let's see what that would be. Head through glass. Harm.
Probably like 1 or 2. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
think that's probably a 2.
Because you're gonna get lacerated on the
oh,
glass
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like she's looking at the skull, and she had the axe like resting on her shoulder,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So Lark kind of like reaches across and grabs the axe so she can't use it. Reaches behind her head and just with like all of his body weight turns and just smashes her head.
Yeah, she hits it and immediately like just drops the axe and begins to like slide, trying to hold on to the side of the door. It begins to slide down. Immediately her son sees this and goes to swing at you as soon as you make that movement. Like you just see him make that movement to swing that axe right at you.
I'm going to duck and try to get the axe that East dropped.
Okay. That sounds like you do something under fire to get down, grab the axe, and
Oh, my luck's gonna run out eventually.
okay. You get, as you begin to duck down, like you see her face and it's just like cut down, and her both eyes are like bleeding, and it's just this grisly sight. So like it caused you to panic. You still get out as the other axe strikes above you, but like you have to duck underneath the truck a little bit to get out of the way. So the axe is a little out of hand. Angus and Emperor, you hear this crash, and now you're starting to hear like screaming, like a woman screaming coming from there. And you see the soldiers like kind of pounding each other in the side, like, here we go, here we go.
So I kind of turned to Angus. Like, do you think we should go down there or at least see what's going on?
It's one thing to see what they're going to do with each other. It's another thing to see our castle go into disarray and chaos. We might want to make sure things don't get too out of hand.
All right, let's go. We need to keep the peace a bit, after all.
Okay. So you're kind of up on a perch. How long do you think it would take you to get to the courtyard? Are you just going to go through the doors, kind of run through the rest of the castle and then come out? Or do you have a quicker way to kind of get from the perch, jump to a wall and get down?
How many under fire rolls do I need to make before you
Good question. I think there's like a relatively like quick way to get there. Because we're like already overseeing that particular like event.
Mm-hmm.
We
Wait,
probably
is
just,
this,
like,
is this
head down.
happening? Is this happening in a courtyard or the Bailey?
So where you guys
confused.
are, it's, let me go to this page. and
Like,
get
is it
my
happening?
thing. So you guys are probably over on the castle somewhere. It's happening down here in like the first area you come into. So like you
Oh,
come
so
in
be in the
here.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Sure, I
would-
don't know castle terms well, so.
Oh, courtyard is literally the yard for the court. It's in the center of the
Mhm.
castle.
Yeah. I would. think
That's why I
there'd
was
be-
confused.
Yeah. I think there'd be like a quick way to get down there, but it's like a pretty narrow passageway,
Mhm.
which is probably like guarded at all times pretty
Okay.
heavily.
So you all begin to start running. And Dusk, are you doing anything? You hear the crash as well. You see the guards like start getting excited about something. You probably
Can I
see
see the fight?
not from where you're at because it's inside a building. Just it's inside a garage, so you can't see back where they are from so far away. You'd have to get close, like where the crowd is, to be able to see inside.
Okay. So she right now can take chances that Lark will die. So she starts approaching a guard without being seen from behind.
Okay. So you're
boy.
definitely acting under fire to get to the guard without being spotted.
Okay, so that's a cool.
That's correct. Yep.
It's very cool.
Okay. So you have to the only way to like the nearest guard, you're gonna have to go through the crowd. There's no easy way to get to them without having to pass through people. So you have a choice to make. You can potentially expose yourself to those that you have to walk by, and you'll be able to get to the guard without them noticing, or hesitate and try to find a different way to get into the garage without the guard. Because you think you might be able to get around the crowd and maybe up to the roof of the garage, and maybe find a way in there without being spotted. But yeah, if you want to get access to a guard, you're gonna have to go through the crowd first.
I'll try to get around.
Okay, so you kind of use the spotlight being turned to the garage to make your dash kind of gliding across the top of the snow, and you find your way to the back of the garage. It's again, it's kind of like these wooden stables that have been retrofitted with sheet metal and everything to keep the vehicles that come in with supplies, and so you're able to climb up to it pretty easily and probably see a few areas where your small frame, again, you're what, like 5 foot something, not very tall, pretty thin. You could probably slide yourself through one of the gaps in the roof to get to the beams that are up above. So as you're doing that and they're running in, Lark, you're down kind of underneath the truck a bit, and he's wedged his axe into the door of the truck, and he's like trying to pull it out to get at you again. As soon as this happens, like Rourke is trying to push his way back through the crowd to get to you, but you have a moment before he'll be there.
Lark is going to. So he's like over me, but his axe is stuck.
Yeah, he's like swung and you duck down kind of underneath the truck, and now it's wedged in the door. So you see him like trying to pull it out, but it's jammed in there pretty hard.
What is he wearing on his lower body?
Overalls. So he has an orange vest on, and then like these jean overalls that go down beneath it. They have like knee pads on them. It looks like a lumberer's outfit. It's got big kind of like boots
Okay.
on.
Let's see. I'm trying to make like a fluff decision that doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna roll a random dice.
Okay.
1. All right. Lark's gonna lash out a foot and hit him in the groin.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, let's
Odd numbers for groin, even numbers for kneecap.
there you go. Yeah, you like lean back and go to kick him. At the moment, yeah, I think this would still be a go aggro on him, as he might try to like see you move and like try to move out of the way.
Darn.
Did
Okay.
you highlight your hard?
Hard was not highlighted. Neither was
Aw.
cool, unfortunately.
Oh,
I did not expect to be in combat.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect you to
Happy
be combat either.
to
The Hocus is the first one to actually. Technically, Dusk was the first one to kill somebody, but through indirect means, I guess.
You're the first one in combat, like actual combat.
Yeah.
So as you like begin to kick your leg up, you see movement off to your side as East, like almost in a blind rage, has grabbed the axe and just goes to jab it, not the blade but the stick, right into your side, and it stops your leg from moving, and you just feel this immense pain. You take 1 harm. Do you have any armor?
I do not wear armor, but I have divine protection.
Okay. And how much does that cover?
Your god gives you 1 armor.
There you go. So you'll still roll the harm move, but it'll just be at a 0. So again, we're trying to miss these rolls. So a straight 2d6 roll.
All right.
It's like her hands are all
Suffer
covered in
harm.
blood, so as she hits it, the thing kind
Failing
of
when I
slides
need
a
to
bit.
fail.
Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. So as she like hits you, you're able to like resist it. Whether it's through your anger or rage, you just like you feel the pressure on your side, but it doesn't go. And just as that happens, Rourke and Angus and Invictus, you all kind of rush to the door at the same time. You see Lark on the ground. This woman covered in blood all over her face with an axe, a bloody axe handle in her hand, jabbing into his side, and a younger boy trying to pull the axe out of the side of the truck.
So the moment Invictus arrives, he just screams at the top of his lungs, "Cease!"
Okay.
He just wants to see how they react.
Lark kind of doesn't pay attention because he's got 2 people trying to kill him right now. His next move is entirely dependent on what they do.
I think for last, the fact that his mom just got bladed, he's gonna need more than that. He might not even recognize that it's your voice. So let's go ahead and do a manipulate roll on him. See if he's gonna be able to clearly understand that it's the Emperor and not just another guy yelling.
Okay. Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he does not. Okay, well, he did not follow the law of the Emperor, so get some of my boys and have a bit of fun.
Let's see here. So you tell them to cease. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I think like you say cease, and you see East like grab up to her son and like pull him like, last stop, and you have like this moment to realize that it's not your words. Like in a way, even though she's beaten and bloody, she's showing that she has power to control him more than that. And like you see him like trying to get it out, and he just relaxes, breathing heavy and just staring down at you. She like goes to try to pull herself up, and she's just streaming blood down the face, and kind of reaches out. Emperor, my boy and I, we don't mean anything. These fucks brought the shit to our house. Just let me and my boy leave and get out of your hair.
Lark is moving like towards like the Emperor at this point, like farther away from the people with axes.
Lark, what did the ever flying fuck did your people do?
I'll explain. Not in front of a
Now.
mob.
No, the mob can stay. Hey, mob. I kind of like wave towards the mob.
Like the crowd begins to start pushing back, and your soldiers are like right there, almost breathing on your neck, like trying to look over. Oh man, that's fucked up. He got our eyes. Oh shit, that looks gnarly, man.
Let's just say that the mob is a very powerful tool, as you probably know, and it looks like my men in that mob really want something to be torn apart. So you better get to explaining now.
Lark's kind of like looks at Invictus like, fine. If you must know, one of my followers wounded a fellow from Ashtown in a drunk scuffle last time we were there. This was just that unfortunate transgression following us up here. It was
Okay.
east is it, whatever, your face is screwed. It was them who decided to use violence as a method of problem solving up
Your
here.
boys
I
are the
tried-
ones that fucking came in in here with their fucking knives threatening us that we fucking stole something. Lying piece of shit.
Shut up. Now,
Those two very different stories.
not so different, really. I point to our renegade. Tell me, you. Have we ever really controlled Ashtown? No, we haven't. We haven't. Therefore, we have no jurisdiction over any actions that are committed in Ashtown. We have no treaties with Ashtown.
They
And
do
drunken
supply all your
brawls stay as
firewood.
Drunken brawls. Never hold a grudge over a drunken brawl. Trust me on that one.
Do they supply firewood? Actually?
They do. They are your main source of all the firewood you receive.
Oh shit! I didn't remember that. So you may just kind of like, you almost be just like, wait, oh shit, did you like?
They may not be under your jurisdiction. Like that might just be a straight trade deal if you offer something to them and they supply you with
it's
wood.
probably just a trade deal then. Like we're just trading stuff with them. Okay. Would I like? Is that woman like any of any position of authority from within Ashtown, what I can see? Or is she just
So
like a
chances
random-
are she's just one of the traders. You.
Like, would it cause like irreparable damage with Ashtown if, let's say, she suddenly died in like an accident?
I feel like that's a role. I'm just not sure what role it is, to be honest.
Maybe like
I don't
Probably
think
start
there would be a
person.
way to just kill one because they're family. Unless you have a way to convince them that that is the right thing. But maybe you want to read a situation and get a better idea of how to get out of this thing with the Emperor on top.
I do want to read a situation actually. That does sound like a very good option. I like rolling sharp.
And while this is happening, Dusk, you're up kind of in the rafters, just watching everything happen from up top, pulling a Batman, just watching from the shadows.
Is there a guard nearby? I was trying to get to a guard.
There's not a guard in there yet. You just see Lark, you see the boy, the bloody woman, and then the Emperor, Angus, and Rourke. You can see guards from the outside now, but in here you have you see Lark, and the person that was threatening him most recently.
Lark isn't under attack, so I'll just stay in the shadows.
Okay, you just stay watching. So what's your question for this charge situation?
Yes. It's either gonna be what should I be on the lookout for, or like what's my best way out of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what's my best way out of this situation?
So if you want violence can be had, but there's gonna have to be a payoff to make it happen. You're gonna have to pay off the boy. You're gonna have to pay off Ashtown to say, look, this is how we solved our issues, blood for money, kind of thing.
Okay, I can deal with that. So the Emperor kind of like holds like two hands up like this and clasps them together. He's like, okay, let me see if I understand the situation properly. Lark and his party of, let's just call them very religious people for now. We're in a settlement that my settlement is currently trading with on Ashtown. They may or may not have done certain actions over there, which do not necessarily matter to me. Now that he's over in this settlement under my protection, some people from Ashtown come over and threaten him and his people. Is that more or less the situation where I understand? East, Lark, whatever your name is, kid?
And Lark just kind of like, that about sums it up, yes.
East is starting to kind of slip on the truck a bit. We was just wrapping up orders when a fucking loud-mouth kid came in saying we stole shit. I don't fucking know what he's talking about. I just need to get fucking home. I'm not gonna... Shit, this hurts.
I kind of like Invictus turns to the crowd. He's like, people of the castle, who do you think is guilty? Who do you think has committed the wrong in this situation?
I so wish I had this move right now. I know exactly what improvement I'm taking when I get the chance. But my God, it sucks so much that I didn't get to take this.
So you start to hear whispers around you. Make them fight. Make the boys fight. Yeah, make them fight. Blood for blood. Make them fight.
Holy shit, this is why you never ask the crowd.
This is exactly what you ask the crowd.
Lark's just like shouting,
So
I gave you blood already.
Invictus kind of just like bringing the crowd on and then stopping it. Invictus is like, I've reached my decision. Now, sadly, we're not currently in a position where we can just kill people. I think that we need to resolve this issue in the ways of old. Ways of very, very old. Trial by combat.
Like the crowd
Lark?
starts cheering. Yes.
Now, please, spread out a bit. Make some room. Come on. You'll all be able to watch this. Lark, kid, come over here. No weapons whatsoever. This is personal. This is blood. Stay 5 feet away from each other. And on my call, I think you know what to do.
The kid like,
It's wicked.
Mom, and at this point she's like, East has slid down and is kind of resting up on the tire. We're in his house, boy. We will do what needs to be done. You go show him what we do down in Ashtown. She like slaps him on the ass and just kind of leans back.
You're actually, for the first time, you're gonna see like a disgusted look on Angus's face. He's gonna mumble something quietly of shifts over and just leave.
Angus, as you kind of make your way from the crowd, you feel a small arm kind of latch on to you, and you look down where Kara is standing there. I've never really been into this blood shit anyways. You thirsty?
Sure, let's go get a drink. Fighting for reasons like this is just dumb. We've got few enough people as it is.
Lark will teach him what needs to be done. Let's not worry about it. Let's go get that drink.
All right.
I'll begin to go to the tavern. So the crowd's kind of formed like a half circle around like the front entrance of the garage.
All right, high school rules.
You see the boy like take his sleeves and roll them up. They're like flannel shirt, like roll them up a bit. Kind of looks at you. He's about your height, but you can tell like he has a bit more strength. He looks like he probably chops trees all day. Like he just looks kind of strong. But there's a bit of like the fear of the unknown behind his eyes. He just kind of goes over there and looks at you.
Lark takes off his vestments for like I'm not sure anyone in the cult has ever seen him not wearing those. So he kind of like takes off like the shredded like upper part of the vestments and everything, and like takes off his coat, like carefully lies on it. So he just has like a regular like t-shirt on,
Mm-hmm.
and he just kind of like gives like a here we go breath, like he is definitely not into this either, but
Now,
So
he,
so as you both kind of prepare, let's take a quick break. Let's take like 5 minutes. Go get some water. When we come back, we will enter the ring.